in the flame. Built my own throne, they just play the game. Whispers of legends, my name on the stone. Truth in my veins, I'm carved out of bone. Not like them, I'm a force unseen. Raw like the earth, sharp and keen. They talk the talk, but they break and rust. I rise from the ashes, I'm built to trust. Chains never bound me, they held their own. Freedom's a crown that I've always known. Words cut deeper like knives in the mist. A rebel's fire too strong to resist. Not like them, I'm a force unseen. Raw like the earth, sharp and keen. They talk the talk, but they break and rust. I rise from the ashes, I'm built to trust. Chains never bound me, they held their own. Freedom's a crown that I've always known. Words cut deeper like knives in the mist. A rebel's fire too strong to resist. Echoes of silence, the world's on mute. I speak in storms, they follow in suits. King of my rhythm, no script in my hand. This is my anthem, I'll make my stand. Not like them, I'm a storm untamed. Chasing the fire off, they stay framed. They fade like smoke, I'm the solid dust. Forever unbroken, I rise, I trust.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day thus far today. I would like to begin the stream by stating today I'm going to review Mr. Eric Carroll's last live performance. Everything that I say today is based on my review and my opinion on Mr. Eric Carroll. This is not a fact channel. This isn't the learning channel, and I am not your therapist. Dial 1-800 I need a therapist if you need one of those, because you're not going to find it here. This is my opinions and my opinions alone. I am not responsible for the chatters and what they may say in the comment section. If you have an issue with what they say, please take it up with them, not me. I do not get paid to be an in-between guy, okay? Please be kind in the chat to each other. Please be mindful of my channel. I'm welcoming you into my home, and please respect each other in the chat in my house. And I would appreciate that. We're not going to talk about what other creators say. We're talking about simply Mr. Eric Carroll. If you cannot mind those rules while you're in my house, while you in my crib, then I'm going to have to kindly ask you to exit to the left or to the right. And this isn't an airport, right? I don't need a departure notice. Thank you. Let's get over here to the chat and say what's up. What is going on? We have Kim. We have Miss January. Cool Rockin' Loretta. And oh yeah, let me say, hey Facebook, how you guys doing over there? You're more than welcome to come to YouTube and chill out in the chat if you'd like. But how you guys doing over there? I hope you guys are having a great day over on Facebook land. Cool Rockin' Loretta. There's Stacy, Miss January. Good to see you. Little Miss, good to see you. DMJ, always a pleasure. Courtney Reed, good to see you. Mary, good to see you. Evil Ghost says he's got to go to work, but he'll be listening in the bushes. So you know what that means, right? He's got his eyes on you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know, he's he's got his eyes on everything. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time. Evil Ghost, don't come from my neck. Okay, don't come from my neck, sir. And Mary, good to see you too again. Tony, it's nice to see you. I do want to go over this, and like I said, this is just my opinion. Okay, it's just my opinion of what Mr. Eric Carroll said on his live. And also, he'll be doing a live this evening. I've been hosting a private live for a handful of people as we review it. I'm not going to be able to do that tonight. I have other plans, but we'll come back tomorrow and we'll review it. I have a life too, but there's Mama Bear. Mama Bear has her eyes on everyone too. Please, give a thank you to the mods that I have in the chat. This is not a paid position. They get nothing but me giving them a hard time. You know, but I do appreciate their time coming over here. And also, just to let everyone know, this content is not being monetized. There is no ad revenue being made off of any of these videos. I'm doing it for entertainment and entertainment purposes only. Okay, thank you. Anyways, let's get to it. Let's get to it. It will be on 1.25 speed for just different reasons. And also, I'm doing this for commentary reasons, for research, educational purposes, and that's it. This was, what night was this? Let's see. This was the 11th, or I'm sorry, May 12th, 2026. He has 11,802 views. It says, the deeper I go into the Whitaker story, the more people are going to realize there was another side they never heard. For months I stayed silent while accusations, narratives, and headlines spread across the internet. What nobody understood is there were reasons I wasn't speaking, and those reasons didn't protect me. Tonight, I'm showing more of the timeline, more context, and more detail that completely change how this story looks. This won't be finished in one night, but we're continuing it tonight. Join me live. So he didn't go live last night. Allegedly, apparently, from what he said, he did have some internet issues last night because I think that he was supposed to go live, but he didn't. So tonight he is supposed to go live, and it's been around the 9 o'clock hour, the 8 o'clock hour, depending on the part of the world you're at. So keep your eye on that. Okay. So let's go ahead and start this off. The Wizards of Odd, pulling back the curtain on the Whitaker story, is what the title is. I'm going to have the live replay if it catches up. And also, mine is, was he the protector or the Patsy? Now, we Googled what the Patsy was, right? What's a Patsy? What's a Patsy? What's a Patsy? Well, Google it. Ask Gemini what a Patsy is and see if he's the Patsy or is he the protector? Right? Those are the words that he used, not mine. Those are his words. I didn't create the words. All right. Let's go ahead and begin. Got some silence here.
All right, we're going. Sorry, took a second. First off, man, one thing I want to say before we get started. You see me looking right here? This is where my computer is. I got a little tiny camera that looks that way up front. Maybe one day I'll be able to change that, but just wanted to explain. Guys, thank you for being here. I feel a lot different today. And I'm excited to get out what's going to be out tonight. Before we get started, I want to say thank you last night to my buddy Jeff Morgan.
So we seen his buddy Jeff Morgan up there, right? Last night or the night before this. Well, it wasn't last night. Let me watch it. Not last night. Would have been let's see, 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago. And he was kind of, in my opinion, he was kind of derailing it. But hey, you know, you have who you want up on your panel.
The guy had just flown in from Texas all the way to Washington, D.C., worked all day, and then he did that last night at his hotel. I knew going into it what was going on. Like I said, my brain will lock up. I'll start rambling, and I hated it. I warned you guys about that ahead of time. Something felt different today.
It's been
so I think I'm going to be able to get through this. But that guy worked nonstop twice when he was on the phone with me and Mark this past weekend. We'll hear somebody snoring. Dude, get you some sleep. I know he said he would be on here with me tonight, but I got this. Thank you for being there for me last night. It meant a lot. I think I just needed to get, because of what we went through last night, we don't have to have a bunch of that PS meeting. And we're going to pick right back up there because I don't think I finished that off. I think I showed you the guardianship papers and told you about the adoption.
Let me give you some context about Mr. Eric Carroll. As we went through Mr. Eric Carroll's past history, Mr. Eric Carroll has a Dad Talk Today podcast, which that's where he's on right now. It's his own platform on YouTube that was established before he went to the Whitakers. in this, he has different platforms that he uses. He calls himself an advocate, helping dads. Okay, I need you guys to hear this. I need you guys to hear this. He's an advocate for fathers' rights, how to navigate the court system. He also has a seminar. I'll put that in parentheses, quote, quote, seminar, that you take courses. You get a certificate during this course that says that you completed his course, how to navigate the system, the things to use in the court system to regain custody of your children. CPS, Child Protective Services. It's called different things in different states. So he's very, very familiar with the court system, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, there's probably more to that seminar that he offers for a price of, I don't remember what it is currently, but between $1 and $100. I don't know how much it is. All right. So I need you guys to understand that he has worked diligently, hand in hand with other gentlemen, to receive parental rights to their children in the court system. You guys picking up what I'm laying down? Are you guys picking up what I'm laying down? So I want you guys to know this before we continue on. If you do not believe me, please do your own research on this, okay? Okay.
And an investigation that never got investigated. At the time, I was just taking in stuff as I was hearing it. There's been a lot of time to sit there and kind of marinate on that visit that day. I sat there and, they explained the history to me when they was first found out about the family, and when they would go over there, and they knew a lot more than me, because they had been in that area, obviously. And, now that I look back on this, there was other things. I can't remember if I told you guys this last night or not. If I repeat myself on some, I'm sorry. This is the part that I haven't talked about before, so I'm going to have to be up here a little bit. But while we was there, it wasn't just about that. Some of the other stuff they was talking about, like there was programs and resources that they had there, where they could have someone that could come in and help clean the house. Well, that would be a blessing. Also to come and help bathe and do some of the, hygiene and stuff like that. So Betty wasn't so overworked. That sounds amazing. But they also had other things across town, like activities and stuff that the family could participate in, where they could be around other people. That sounded amazing. And then there was a whole myriad of other things that they were telling me about. And again, at the time, as I'm hearing it, my only thought was, I can't wait to tell this to Betty. Let's, the county's wanting to help her.
So the county had some resources that they said that they were going to offer the Whitaker family, which was wonderful, right? But let's also keep in mind that the county has known about the Whitakers for decades. Okay? For decades.
I got to go back a little bit, though, because I started watching this, I would say not long after Mark and Soft White Underbelly started doing videos with them, and it followed it. And I remember like some of those first impressions as I was seeing it. I was like, how are they allowing this? And sorry, guys, it's summertime in Georgia. It's swamp ass. I got a fan on, but doing a little sweating. I was like, how is this being allowed to go on? I mean, it's obvious. The whole world sees this issue right here.
I'll tell you why, Mr. Eric Carroll. I'm assuming that there are a lot of people that live in West Virginia that could potentially live in the same conditions, not willingly. That's just the cards that they've been dealt, and they cannot they don't have the resources. So that's my opinion.
Like, how is this? You would think there would be somebody in that area that would step in and do something. And I'm not talking about what ended up happening, like family being taken away. Can't you come in there and offer some help? Or if they don't know how to do this, show them, hey, let me show you how to do this, or let's make sure you've got what you need to make sure this don't happen, just a helping hand. Because one thing I will tell you, during my time, words were spoken that I don't think anybody had ever heard before.
And some people ask why I stop and do commentary over something when I review. whenever you review somebody else's content, it's called Terms of Services of YouTube, and it's a requirement. If you're going to review someone, you have to give commentary about what they're talking about throughout the video. So I'm not doing it to make a longer video, to do all of the things. I wish I could just play it through and then we could talk about it at the end. I really wish we could. But unfortunately, that's not the way, that's not how you review someone else's video. So I'm only doing this because it's required, okay? I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass. I'm not making one dime off of this, so it's not to stretch the video out, okay, guys?
Some of the things you didn't get to see that I was seeing, and it very much warmed my heart. Hygiene, getting better. Deodorant for one. You know, I remember first time bringing him over for shower. It's like, here's your brand new clothes. I took him, let them all pick out themselves. Then I got him each deodorant. I'm like, here's deodorant. Make sure you put this on. And then after they got out, I went into the bathroom and I noticed deodorant hadn't even been opened, you know? So I went back and I was like, here, you know, let me show you, you know, what you do with this. But not just that. It's this is some of the stuff that causes the confusion and makes it really hard, guys, because I want to say names and I can't say names. And so I'm on live video. It's very unforgiving. So I'm trying.
That's true, though.
One in particular, you know, always had stuff all over their hands and stuff. But I started teaching, wash your hands. Every time you use the bathroom, wash your hands. And it was becoming routine. The same way you saw when I showed up, pants leg come up. This is the guy that takes my knee pain away. Started becoming after you use the bathroom, go up to the sink and stand there like this. They knew we're gonna wash hands. You know, I was really trying to teach that napkin, and I think with some time you would have seen amazing improvement. I just don't think no one had ever really spent time with them. I really don't. And bringing this back into that meeting, you know, they're telling me about this history and how they knew about him and everything and all of these resources.
Hillbilly been around a lot. Exactly. Wash your hands after you use the bathroom, for the love of God. Yes, I used to say that all the time. I still say it, you know. That's a big thing for me. Wash your hands after you pee, for the love of God. Your mother taught you better.
I've said this a million times. Came all the way up from Georgia. You are right down the road. You're telling me you knew about them and you knew about the challenges and everything. You've watched all the videos and you knew there was these resources that could help. Why didn't you do it before? I mean, seriously, think about that, guys. There's going to be many more of those failures that I want to address and bring up. It boggles my mind. And then not only that, after not doing that, you know, after all of these years and not taking, you know, and maybe I don't know the whole history, but that's my thoughts. And I never heard anything other than that, which would make me believe there was any efforts. You know what I mean? I feel like almost.
So if you guys haven't already picked it up, Mr. Eric Carroll, in my opinion, is very upset at APS because I'm going to give you my opinion. Okay, I was up till 3, listening to his live and have more questions than before, right? I think we all do, Hash Brown. This is just my opinion, okay? This is not based on any facts, no back-end information. This time as I review things that are being put out, it's going to be based on my opinion. No behind the scenes information, none of the bullshit like last time. Learn a huge lesson, okay? This is based on my opinion. I think Mr. Eric Carroll is very upset at APS because of different reasons. And he starts to get into it. He's not going to put them in a good light. The questions that he's asking now to APS, he should have been asking the moment he stepped foot on the Whitaker property, because it didn't change. He had only known the family for a couple of months, like firsthand. He went there in June. He was gone for July because he was covering Mr. John Mass's trial. Then he came back in August. The first time he stepped foot and he's seen all of the things, then why wasn't that like, whoa, there's some things that we should not be putting on camera. The things that you, sir, it wasn't live. This is the problem that I have. They want to blame everybody else for the family being taken care of. It's that person's fault. It's that person's fault. It's APS's fault. Sir, you and Mr. Rorick did not do lives. What you did do was record videos via cell phone device. You downloaded said video, then uploaded said video. You didn't edit out parts that you thought could be troublesome for the family. You didn't say, you know what, we probably shouldn't show that on camera. We watch those videos. You can tell a video if it's edited or not edited. You're not that good at this, man. And neither is Patrick. So, for my opinion, you didn't your mind was somewhere else. In my opinion, I can't verify this, okay? This is strictly based on my opinion from watching public videos.
Neglected, just stay in your corner over there. We know you got to come to town and get some groceries every once in a while, but yeah. And then the first time meeting me, you're handing me guardianship and talking about adoption. Wow, how convenient. I guess, get rid of our problem that we don't want to deal with.
ACG.
Can I say that's a fact? No, I can't. Can I say that's how I feel about it? You damn right. You damn right. But that's what had happened that day. Not long after they showed me these papers and talked about them and kind of like what the idea was. We've seen what you do. We think you'd be great. And like some of it, I understand.
And the papers that he's referring to is custody, I'm assuming here, of Timmy. So this started the coffee shop meeting. It started early on, right? Started early on. So in his mind, he's like, I got something in my back pocket. I got something. This is just me assuming the way I'm understanding it.
Person never been to the doctor until I did that.
Wait a second.
When was going to be?
Come on, Mr. Carroll. You know better than that. They had been to doctors. They've had heart attacks. Ray's been there to get medication for his knee. Yes, they had been to the doctor. Now you stop that.
The next one, I can tell you this. The only one that happened when it was on my watch, there was a scheduled follow-up that never happened, and it never got rescheduled or anything.
Rhonda,
and it probably never would have happened
unless
here.
Let me tell you, Mrs. Rhonda Martin, you can stand by Eric. We're not an echo chamber here. As long as you voice your opinion and not attack anyone in my chat for their opinion and respect each other as grown adults. If you're not over the age of 18, you probably shouldn't be in this chat. This is not the content for you. So we don't care if you stand with Eric. That's fine. Okay? Just be respectful to each other in the chat. That's all we ask.
There, if they would have needed my help, like getting doctor's visits, making sure their care was taken care of, or what have you, I would have been more than willing to do that. And I think I even said something. I think there were several different options. Like there is guardianship when it comes over medical matters, and there's guardianship over other things. But one of the first things I said is like, look, thank you, for telling me all this. But one, I got a wife at home. I got to talk to her. I was like, I'm led by my emotions. I want to help. And sometimes I don't think these things through. She's my better half. Let me talk to her, let her know what you're presenting me. I wasn't really prepared to hear something like this, but I was like, also, I was like, Betty needs to be here. I was like, I felt very uncomfortable even having this conversation without Betty there. There was no reason to not have it with Betty. And had I known, Betty probably could have came with me that day. Someone else came with me. She probably could have came with me that day because I told her what was going on. And so after this gets done, I go back and I tell her about it. I was like, hey, I met with them and they seem really nice. They seem like they're wanting to help. They said they got these social things where they will come and pick you up and take you out and buy you clothes and you won't have to pay for a thing, and they will bring you back. They said there's somebody that would come in, several times a week, help take care of the family, help you clean up and get you some of that help you've been wanting, Betty. And she sounded very excited about it, And I told her, I told them I didn't want to talk about it anymore without you. I said, they said we can meet at the same place a week from now. You want to go? And she said she was all down for it. Well, I'm not even supposed to be up there right then, guys. So I'm going to try to make the most of my time while I'm there because I have a lot of fires to put out and more safeguards to put in place. That's kind of hard when you're in Georgia. Number one is making sure their account was set up so that they could get their money and that it wasn't going in anyone's possession. It goes straight there and, you know, they're taken care of and they have someone over it.
Can I ask you this, Mr. Carroll? Have you ever thought of maybe setting up a business account for them? Since you had an LLC and all of that during with your contract. You and Mr. Rorick got paid, and you say that you showed us what you were paid, and the Whitaker family never received anything. I don't want the money aspect to blind what he's saying, though, okay? Sometimes I think that the money gets us clouded and we don't hear what he's actually saying, in my opinion. And I believe that too. For honestly, I do believe that should have happened before anything else, before he even stepped foot on the making videos. The account of how you're going to pay someone you're in a contract with should have been established. And that's just my opinion. That's a good business partner. Would you guys go into business with somebody with a contract if you don't have a way of getting paid? And the two thing, absolutely, the two things need to be separated. A lot of times we focus on the money because money makes the world go around, right? And it's also the root of all evil, in my opinion. The money starts to blind what's really being said sometimes. For me, it was, anyways.
Before I think the contract was even signed, I talked to, and I can look it up. I can give it to you guys later. And I promise, please remind me. There was a company there in Beckley. I went to an accountant. And one thing about Jeff Morgan, somebody had made me aware that he had made a video when this all first started and I wasn't able to talk. And I wasn't looking at anything. My mom and a few people was like, nah, you really need to look at that. That's the way a friend takes up for a friend. But he also knows me very well. Because when it comes to accounting and stuff like that, I'm good and I'm honest, but it's kind of my Achilles heel, maybe a little bit of ADHD.
That's why I have a little bit of a problem, because you said that you're an established podcaster. That's how you sold yourself to Mr. Rorick. I know how to do this. I can help you, man. Well, for me, if I'm going to have someone come and roof my house, do you know what a nail is? If the roofer that wants to roof my house does not know what a nail is or a shingle, then I'm probably going to refer to someone that knows every aspect of what we're trying to do here. And the money end of things is how people are going to pay the people that you're putting on camera is probably a very important step that you would want to take. I mean, that's just my opinion. Okay. But we're not going to let the money blind us here. Listen to what he's saying. Let's listen to what he's actually saying.
HD or something in there. I'm not organized. And so I have someone that does that for me. And then, which is perfectly fine with me. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I knew going into this, you got several different parties. And then this, where it really needs to be watched to make sure everything's done right because they get government benefits. So I wasn't exactly sure how to structure it. I reached out to this company in Beckley, and I had an interview similar to what we're doing right now, but it was on Zoom. The guy was super nice. And I told him about the government benefits and what I was wanting. Hey, I want this to be where nobody involved has their hands on like money, so where anything like that could happen. I want total degrees of separation. If someone does need to get paid or something like that, they could get a check. You'd be the accountant. You would send a check, everything. So it's, you know, gone through with a fine pick comb. And then I also said to him, I know, and guys, I don't know the specifics, nor do I think it's appropriate to share them because that's personal. I'll just say, I know there's government benefits there, especially when it comes to medical. Okay. So whenever you got a family like this, that's getting that, if somebody just comes up and says, hey, I want to give you money. If Uncle Sam found out about that, they can lose those benefits. And even though I think with the monetization, I would have been able to get them to a place where they could have been doing very good. Okay. There is no way we'd have been able to make enough when you're talking about medical. I mean, any of you guys ever had to go to a hospital and pay for a Band-Aid or a one-night stay? You know what it's like. And there were several different issues there that were accelerated, looked like lots of knee problems and other stuff. If I'm not wrong, Betty had had 2 heart attacks already, and same with someone else. And I think there might have been, you know, some on the other side. Bottom line, they need that medical. You know, that was like the number one. Everything else, like getting their needs taken care of, or if this was a part of it, groceries and stuff like that, like we can take care of that. But
It's wild because then is it worth making content Is it worth even doing this? Is it worth until this is a response? In my opinion, a seasoned adult would have been like, okay, before we don't, until we get all these kinks worked out, are we going to do more harm than good? We seen he has let us know that he's seen exactly what happened with soft white underbelly in that situation. So maybe it would be looking hindsight's always 2020, and I get that. But what was the motive driving for you without stepping back? Why couldn't you just step back and say, okay, Patrick gonna Patrick, right? But for you, sir, you inserted yourself. Why didn't you step back along with that contract and be like, we should not make any content until we figure these certain aspects of the business deal? We work it out. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Why? That's my question to you, sir. Before cameras started rolling and videos were uploaded to gain a profit, the Whitakers were not protected. And why?
Medical. Mm. So I was like, I'm not exactly sure. Like, how do you do that to make sure they don't lose their benefits? And he said, you need to trust. But not only that, I don't think so with Betty and Larry. I think they are way, way smarter than people give them credit. Way smarter. And they know more than people think they know. You can believe me on that or not.
Okay. And what aspects? So that would be my next question to you, Mr. Carroll. On what aspects are they way smarter than what we give them credit for? Street smarts, education smarts, financially smart. Where in what aspect are you talking about, sir? Because that's like a broad brush right there, in my opinion. But okay, maybe you can answer that on tonight's live.
I'm just telling you.
Somebody maybe want to take notes and write the questions down that we have, and maybe he'll answer them. Maybe if he gets questions before his live stream, he would address some of them. I mean, that's just a suggestion.
But when it came to the others, I don't even want to give a number, the others, I just considered or like thought to myself, it would be special needs because it was a special type of case. And so when I did that, I was like, it's also involving, adults that, they need someone to watch this for them. So it was going to be a special needs trust. And I was told, you need to get an attorney here in town. Probably won't be much, but the attorney will be the one that will make that account. And after that, you can open up an account here in town. My idea wasn't which I have no reason to go there anyway. I'm from Georgia. I was setting that up there in Beckley for them in case the way that would work. You guys remember at one point in time, I was made aware of a $670 water bill. How many of you have ever had a water bill that high? How many of you have had one over $100? I mean, that's probably.
Well, I had a leak one time and I had a high bill. Yeah. And how many people are living in the house, flushing, washing, water running, leaving it running? I don't know. But did that come out of your pocket? Where was that money retrieved from? Was it the money from the very first monetization check you received from the platforms? Remember, because Mr. Carroll, you did emphasize quite a few times on your chicken scratch that Mr. Rorick asked to borrow so much money from the Whitaker family's part. Now, did you take some of that money? Did you take their own money and pay their own bill? Well, and that's isn't that a concept? I mean, that's a question that I have for you. You're acting like you paid the bill. It was their money. Wasn't it? Or no? Am I wrong on that?
Probably a special occasion if you have, but $670. And yes, I took them in person. Well, Larry, my brother, was with me, and I'm going to try to bring him on later on sometime this week. He's got some stuff to add, but I took them up there and tried to find out what was going on. But if something like
wild,
that
I gotta
arises,
say this. I'm just gonna say that. What is wild? He acts like he didn't know that the Whitaker family has issues. They have addiction issues throughout the family. They have money issues throughout. Like, it's been documented with soft white underbelly. Sir, you've said this out of your own mouth. You knew the hornet's nest you were stepping into, and you didn't protect yourself. And let me tell you, I'm just going to say it right now. APS in the state of West Virginia dog walked your ass. For why? What was you thinking you were going to get in return? If you were out here doing it for God's work, then why are you so mad? If you, oh, not, girl, let me hush your mouth, Lady K, because you're going to get out there too far, honey.
Again, they would be able to go there, take the bill and say, hey, we got this ridiculously high water bill. Can you pay it? Yes. And it would be taken care of. There was so many reasons that was critical. One, because you got to do it legally anyway, to keep them from, their benefits getting messed up. But the other is, I had watched this. We know about the scandal where over $100,000 of money just
listen, what I'm not trying to do is try to start a shit show. What I'm trying not to do is step over the commentary line. Okay, well, that's what I'm not trying to do. Okay, I have my own personal thoughts. I really do. It's not for public consumption because people aren't going to like it. Okay, they're not going to like it. I get frustrated because he's playing the community that was standing beside the Whitakers to try to help them financially get a new home and get things that they needed. He, in my opinion, he acts like no one has a brain. Like we can't see. I can see the forest through the trees, my guy. Okay? You're talking to people that have money, that have had money, that may have had money, that's going to get money, that works jobs, that has disabled adults living in their. I mean, we are full across the board with the community. People watch the Whitaker family for different reasons because they can relate to them, because they may have a family member like one of the Whitaker members, or we come from a family like whatever. And he's playing with people, in my opinion, what I'm seeing is you're on a fucking carousel with him. And that's not okay. That's why I get so angry.
Just remember,
I'm not really angry. That's the wrong word. Frustrated.
there at the end where I found a video of a certain gentleman was a boyfriend of someone and didn't work a job at that time. They had wads of hundreds flashing it on their social media. And I posted that.
And that was a long time ago. Okay. And we don't know the back end story that there's rumors that have been gone around on social media, where the money come from, how to get access to the money, blah, 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 blah. Do your own research on that. Okay. And what that was all about. All right. But exactly. And here's the thing. You knew about previous incidents before you walked into this bee's nest.
Yeah. Anyway, talk about that later. Many different things. It would make sure that did not happen. There would not be any way for someone to just come in there, hey, you don't give me that, I'm going to go say you raped me or abuse or anything. Nothing could be dangled over their head because they would be able to live off of it. They would be able to access it, and they would be able to do, it's for them. They would just have that trustee. It would be in that account, and none of the BS could go on. That was very, very important. And it was something that was going to have to be done. So after he told me that, I said, okay. And he told me once I got all that done, plus me and Patrick needing an LLC. Originally, we were going to do one together not long after that first trip. And I just told him, I was like, man.
So why didn't that get done? I'm going to stop you right there. See, I watch a lot of true crime. I cover true crime stuff. I haven't left the house yet. I haven't left the attorney's house yet. I haven't left the attorney's office yet. Why didn't that happen, sir? Why didn't that happen, sir? Now, you and Mr. Rorick had no problem receiving your payment. You and Mr. Rorick had no problem receiving what was owed to you the first month and the second month, right? I mean, we can get back to your chicken scratch on a notebook if you want. That's your accounting strategy. That's fine. Okay, whatever. Why didn't you, whenever you start a business, sometimes you have to invest money to get that business up and going. To me, you acted like this was a business deal because there was a contract. So that's a business. If you have a contract to do business with people, sometimes you have to invest a little bit of money. So the Whitaker money wouldn't pay for the attorney. So instead of you and Patrick investing the money to make sure that they're going to be taken care of, the people that you're making the money off of, I mean, is this business 101 or am I someone just out here with my head in the fucking sand? Can someone help me, please?
And it's like, I think it's probably good for us to get our separate LLC. It'd be good to, you know, easier for us to track because I've got different expenses. I'm coming from Georgia and this and that. I was at the point I'm not going LLC with Patrick. You know, originally that was the deal, but it changed very quickly. But he told me once I got that set up, come to him, and then he was going to take care of it. And plus quarterly taxes and all that. Knowing that that part of it was taken care of was huge for me because I suck at that. And Morgan.
But it wasn't taken care of. Where for you, maybe you may have had someone for looking out for yourself, but remember how if it wasn't for Whitaker family, there would be no Whitaker family content. So it's like having a car and not putting gas in it and expecting that motherfucker to drive. Not gonna happen.
Talked about that in his video. So it's very true. Let me mention this though, guys. This is something that really makes it interesting. They were getting government benefits back when the GoFundMe scandal happened. We're talking about 6 figures that went missing. I truly believe
But
there's
that's
something.
not you knew about all this. So look what happened. Eric, Mr. Dad Talk, Mr. Advocate, Mr. I have a series. I have a whole series of things, lessons you can take online at dadtalk.org. Oh, yeah, looked into that too. LLC with a certificate how to get your children back from the courts. You're experienced at all of things, right? But wow. That's why I'm holding you to a higher standard, sir. I am holding you to a higher standard by the way you are presenting yourself to the public.
Things that I don't know. But from what I know, I don't think we were talking about the kind of money that happened then with this case. Okay. And that money goes missing over 6 figures. And Mark shows the statements online. Well, that would be a pretty big issue then. Did anybody go in and investigate?
He did show his statements online.
There any court cases?
All the banks tracked it, so there wouldn't be anything to investigate because he didn't defraud the Whitaker family. He showed all of that online. I'm sure that he showed it to anyone that asked from West Virginia. Authority figures is who I'm speaking of.
Not that I know of. But last year, I'm just saying, feels like some selective discrimination going on, if you ask me.
How do you say that? Like, let's talk about that, Mr. Eric Carroll. He showed it. The money was being given to the Whitakers from the GoFundMe. It was raised for them. He gave it to them. I don't see. Okay.
Anyway, trying to think, after that happened, it was pretty much just going up there. And, while I was in town, I reached out to that attorney. I had the meeting with the accountant that gave me the list of things that needed to be done that had been done, I think, like a couple months prior. And it wasn't like my list of things to do was so big, guys. It was, trying to get to it as quick as I could. And then when I was up there, it hit me. I was like, hey, we need to go get this done. So I emailed the attorney and then talked to him on the phone. And I've got this in the timeline. I said, hey, next Monday, we have a meeting with the county. And then right after that, I wanted to come to your office. I should be able to get temporary hold of their money and bring it with me so that you can take that to make the trust and then put it in their account. Scheduled. So what was supposed to be happening the following week. Yeah. During that time, just trying to make sure I don't want to have to go back, but I don't think it was just like before, that whole thing, waiting for that, and I'm taking care of.
Does this channel say aggressive defiance? No, it doesn't. Okay. And we're not going to talk about other content creators over here. So how rude of you and how dumb of you to even think that that's going to fly. I'm going to report this message that come into my chat and violated TOS terms of services in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and do this now. and report. Don't remove it yet, mods, because I'm reporting it. Disrupting a live stream. Yes. Okay. There we go. Done. All right.
Of them every day and going and doing stuff for them, just trying to be there. And here comes the day. Well, no, there is. Sorry. There is something to add. One day when I went by there, this is not long after BJ got taken off. One day when I was over there just sitting on the porch with all the family talking, and I'm telling you, they were so happy. You could tell that cloud had lifted off. But out of nowhere, Larry started saying, yeah, someone called and said, you're on the Facebook telling everybody you're trying to get, the government come in and take the family away. And when I heard that, I was like, what? I was like, who did you hear it from? It was, I can't remember. And I was like, that is such BS. I went right then, pulled it up. And I was like, look, I was like, why would I do that? I'm all the way up here from Georgia, and I got in this project with you, and I want your family to be taken away. That makes a lot of sense. I was like, who said that to you? And he could never really give me a name. And I was like, that's BS. And I was like, you can access it anytime. I very often would go through there, show them the videos and stuff. Especially, there's some I can't talk about. But I would show them often, all the time, what was going on. That was BS. At any point in time, and listen, this wasn't like it was something hidden, guys. They were making it sound like I was coming on a broadcast like I'm doing right now and saying, guys, I am trying my best to get them to come in there and take the family away from Betty. Never happened. Never happened. I could tell there was forces there mad about BJ being taken away. Now, I think a few different points in time, I talked to BJ's son. Patrick had told me he's not what everybody's made him out to be. I guess people had known him before. I never really watched much with those videos with the Whitakers. I just pretty much the ones, the main ones there at that house. But when I got to talk to him, it sounded like, he was glad she was gone too, and told me all kinds of stuff that had went on. And he starts detailing all kinds of abuse and stuff that I hadn't heard from elsewhere. So I had no reason to, no, I don't know if he's telling me the truth or not. Patrick told me he wasn't what he had been made out to be. Details for what's coming up. But I want to say, I think that might have happened twice, but Larry had done that. They're saying you're doing that on Facebook. I was just like, dude, that is so much, what. Anyway, next Monday rolls around. It's time to go to that meeting. Now, every day I'm there several times a day, because most of what I was doing was, hey, can you go get me some sodas? Hey, can you go get me some snuff? Hey, can you go get their medicines? Hey, can you do this? Fine, I'm here. I might as well be doing something. I don't want to be sitting at the room. And I did everything they asked, whatever you need. And during that week, every day I'm like, Betty, we got that meeting coming up. That's very important. Adult protection services first. And then afterwards, we got to go talk to the attorney to get your account set up. And so you can get your banking account set up, and you guys, if you need access to your money, it's going to be there. And I had told him numerous times. She said, okay. And she seemed very excited about it. Well, that day comes around, and that's where this thing started going to hell in a handbasket.
And we've heard this story before. That she went into town to get the dog food, and it was really with one of the Whitaker family members to look at the videos because they think what the hell. Listen, anyone that, if you got, hey moderators, if you see anyone that's talking about another creator, just block them. Don't time them out, just block them. Because I really don't, this is not his channel, and they can go to his channel and talk about it. Thank you. But we've heard all this, so we're going to kind of skip through a little bit of it because we've heard it.
at Larry several times. I was having a hard time, biting my lip. When I saw him, all I could see was a snake. People had told me, watch out, he's a snake. And I had defended him. I wanted to believe that he really wanted to be a help and wanted to watch after his siblings, and knew about those challenges. He was good in some aspects, but I think it was more when I was around. I think he put on a really good charade for me. And it was all the time, we want to talk to you. We don't want to talk to Patrick. I got that stuff on video, guys. There is so much people haven't seen. But when I get back, mouth off at him, and I'm just sitting there trying to wait for whoever to show up. Not long after that, Betty shows up. And guess who she's with? He told me someone was taking her to go show her this stuff that doesn't exist, right? It was BJ's kids. The one I just talked to not long after that, telling me all of this different abuse his mom had done, and just like it was all kinds of stuff. But I never really trusted that anyway. I listened, I talked. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I listened to it. I wouldn't have ever tried to make a judgment off of it, by no means. But when I saw them getting out of the car, and I knew, and I said, Betty, I said, we had that meeting this morning. She said, I don't know what to do, Eric. They're telling me while I was there is when we went to meet, because we had to go meet with the bishop's son, one of, they call it the keeper of the funds, like a board over it.
So now he's talking about the Amish, which we've talked about the Amish and why he chose the Amish. But then to come to find out, he actually needed to have a local contractor oversee because of the permits or the insurance. I'm sorry, the insurance part of it. And the Amish do not carry insurance or something like that, so he needed a local contractor anyway, which is, I don't understand, but okay.
That would watch over
why he wouldn't just go with the local contractor if he knew that.
it. Sounded amazing. They said, well, let us pray about it and we'll get back to you. And so I thought.
So for me, that wasn't a deal. For me, whenever he said that there was a deal with the Amish, that wasn't really a deal. He just said, let us pray over it and we'll get back to you. The money of the first $500 donation was not accepted because the Amish said, let us pray about it and we'll get back to you. So for me, building a home, that doesn't mean that there is a deal. That means we're going to get back to you. Get back to you means I'm going to get back to you. And that's just my opinion.
We still had something, to wait on. Mr. Mass, when we got out, he said, Eric, I didn't admit. He said, they're doing it. And I was like, well, they said they have to pray on it. He said, they always say that. He said, they're going to do it. He said, I didn't know that we were going to be able to get it that quick. And he said, before we leave, he said, just to show them how serious we are, because this is the first time they're meeting us. They had met, the bishop had met Mr. Mass before in Montana, but there it was his first time. He said, I want to cut the first check towards the house. And he did. It's a $500 check. And he went in there and handed it to him and told him, said, once we get this set up, we'll be back in touch with you. They gave us their telephone number. That kind of shocked me too. They can have telephones for business. Some of the Amish, if they have telephones, it's got to be at the end of the driveway. I'm interested in all that stuff, guys. But we left, went back to the Amish store, got us some cookies and stuff to cook.
Yeah, okay. We're going to skip.
It was 16 or 17 acres that they owned, and it was right there at it. But where it was not on their property. And it had several different owners throughout the years since they had been on there. The only thing I can think of is there was somebody that knew that and allowed it to be like that, because once you put a home on property, then your taxes go up exponentially, your homeowner's tax. But if you don't have a home on that land, it's not much at all. So they had all that land, and I'm guessing they didn't really, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that their parents had set up or if somebody had set up for them. Bottom line, where their home was not on their property. And then where their home was, you wouldn't be able to put another one there anyway. Or if you guys remember, the old camper, I never got to see that. It was gone by the time I got there, but it was right across the road. And originally they had talked about at one point in time, maybe putting the home there. They couldn't put it there either. It's in a flood zone. That's where the flooding comes in, where you see in the blue.
And we went over that extensively as well.
And it went back even a little bit more than that. We're going to go look at this.
So the permits, we haven't seen any of the permits. He said he had the permits, maybe he had the application for the permits, and that's just the language issue. I don't know. Benefit of the doubt, right?
And we'll be right back. Let us go look at it and see what we can find. That's when we went back there. Now I noticed this was a good bit back, 16, 17 acres.
I'm going to go fast through it because
it was back, meant come back. And just the look, you know, you could tell much smarter than people give credit, much smarter. And I remember the anxiety and the fear, the literal fear leading up to that and helping Betty get that protective order that people had in their hearts, and knowing that they're returning to that. Got in the car and left. You know how I found out that they were not vulnerable adults or listed with no capacity issues or anything? Because I was later told if I wanted to take that person with me, I could have. They have free will because they're not listed as anything, just like me and you. I didn't know that. But I will tell you, I was actually going and trying to get special needs trust and stuff made up because I wanted to protect them. And there was obviously challenges there. And you hear about these failures and like 60 reports that they were supposed to go and investigate, and they did, and they get in their car and leave and everything. Adult protection services.
Did he go live last night? No, he didn't. He's going to go live tonight. Very interesting in his take now, right?
I feel like I was the only adult doing any protecting while I was there. And now I see this situation and I have to leave it. Yeah, that one sucked, guys. That one sucked. But here we go. Here we go. Now I'll give you the go over. Bear with me, guys. This is hard to relive. And I want to give it to you. Exact. When I saw her there, I was like, you got to call the cops. I was like, you remember what that judge told us? If she shows up, you have to call the cops. You're not supposed to talk to her. You're not supposed to do anything. They was like, okay. That's when Betty got the phone and I noticed.
But the problem is that she was allowed to live in her trailer. That's where she lived. She wasn't allowed to go onto the property where the Whitakers lived with the temporary order of protection. But nowhere in that paperwork, from my understanding, from what he's saying, was an order of protection. But they couldn't remove her from the dwelling of her home. She lived in the trailer next door.
She walked all the way to the back. She didn't do this in front of me. And I already thought, like, that's weird. And she was going back there for a while, and we was just all kind of sitting silent. And then when she got back, she's like, here. And when I was talking to the cop, I said, sir, I said, we got someone here violating a protective order. And the judge that gave the protective order said, if they show up, we have to call you guys immediately. And they was like, sir, there is no protective order. There's nothing we can do. And like, I wish you would have just told me something early on, because I kept going back and forth with this guy. I was like, yes, there is. I was like, sir, I am from Georgia. I came all the way up here to help her. And it took me 3 days of taking them back and forth to get this. There's a protective order. And then, sir, there's no protective order. You know, we can't do anything. And after a while of doing it, finally, he's like, sir, the protective order was dropped, you know, on such and such date. There is no order. Yeah, man, it was like the biggest slap in the face, guys. I don't even think I tried to ask him what happened. I just remember as it was going, Larry was smiling, laying back. He's like, you missed the court date. He was so proud of himself. No, we didn't. I was told we had 10 days. Yes, you did. You missed the court date. It was yesterday. I said, I didn't know about no court date. I said, Larry, I was down there with the Amish trying to get someone to build you a home. You know, it was just getting, the knife was getting deeper, guys. You know, I later found out there was a court date that was scheduled. I sincerely thought in my head when he said this is good for 10 days that it was going to be probably around that 10-day mark. And I guess I missed it. So at one point in time, I was really beating myself up thinking this whole thing, and this is what they were trying to lead me to believe. Like it was all on me. You know, found out later. They came to Betty's house and served it in person and said, you got to be at court at this time. Nobody ever called and told me anything. But not only.
So that's some new information, right? That the paperwork was actually delivered to Betty.
Only that. And trust me, I got this information somehow. I was told 3 different times after that court order was dropped. They called and told her, like, the court order was dropped. You said you wanted this protective order. There's been abuse, you know, to the people in that house. If you want this extended, we can extend it for you. And it was turned down all 3 times, including the day we're going to be mentioning. You guys, I'm telling you, I mean, you could have just popped the balloon at that point in time. And it's just like game over, you know, after so many times of trying to be able to do this for them. Like they're their own worst enemy. You can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. And, you know, let me write this down really quick. I want to know where to come back. I'm telling you, I had a really hard feeling in my heart towards Betty at this point, because it was everybody really, but it kept building up. But I never thought that she should be taken away from her family, or if something was to happen, like she should have been a part of it. She's been there. She sacrificed. Okay, she made some mistakes, but still, I mean, it's obvious, you know. But like I said, when I was there, you know, it was, we need this. I don't want her there. I'm scared of her. I'm scared of her. And then, I mean, obviously she went and she wanted to get this. This was their thing.
So can I ask you a question? Do you think now, looking back, Mr. Carroll, that it was smart to put all of the court information out for the public's consumption about the order of protection, about the dropping of the order of protection, about getting an order of protection? Do you think now, looking back, because I mean, we can look back and say hindsight's 2020. Do you think that was the best thing because of all the phone calls and all everything that was made to APS? Do you think that was smart? Or should that have been behind the scenes information?
But I think those days where I was busy and working on other things, trying to get other stuff done, you know, Larry never gave up. Larry never gave up. He was dead set on finding some way to get her back there. You know, like she later told me, BJ was never supposed to be there like that. Larry had moved back in after he had been gone for a while, and he told her BJ was going to come down, I think, just like a weekend. She wasn't even wanting that, but thought it was just going to be like a weekend. And that had been years ago. That turned into forever. And so Betty had told me that whole time she hadn't wanted her there. But at one point in time, she did help out with some of them. But once the drugs and stuff got in, she was like, I never wanted her here in the first place. So obviously, I mean, it probably made her feel like a prisoner in her own home, you know, but she's not going to be confrontational. And I think she's very easy to sway. That's my opinion. But it wasn't just coming from Larry, guys. I felt like several people were really getting to Betty. This is going to be a little controversial because I have kept this person out of it. And I know this caused a very, 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 very heated argument. But I'm going to show it to you in the video. We're going to talk about Patrick for a second, because I think he was doing some of this too. He got really, really close with Betty. Betty would talk to me and stuff. I was closer to the ones that really needed the protection. All right. And that's where my heart was. That's where my heart was. I love them too. Once Larry started doing the stuff he did, wasn't so much love there anymore. Like, I already gave you multiple chances. I find out you're stealing from people and doing all this. And now I've seen him. I know what I need to know about him. But, you know, Betty, you know, me and her would talk and everything, and she was friendly with me, but my bond was mostly with, like I said, the others. But I could feel there was constant, like, Betty was the one that was in charge of that family. So it's obvious, like, you get to Betty, you can make, you know, content with the family and stuff like that. And I always felt like there was some, anyway, I'll let the video do the explaining. You guys remember there was videos back then. In the beginning, it was somewhat cute. It seemed a little bit innocent. You remember Patrick and Betty, they would get up, cut up on the porch and, hey, why don't you give me a kiss?
This here, he's going to show this video. I'm going to fast forward through it, but give my opinion. I think Betty was joking with Patrick. I don't think it was, I don't view it as she was taking Patrick as, that's my boyfriend. I can't agree with that. I think Betty tries to be a jokester when she can. She likes to be funny. But okay.
And what it started off in the beginning. I ain't giving you no kiss. I'll give you a kiss on the jaw, you know, or a knuckle sandwich.
And right there tells you that she's a jokester. Like, I'll give you a kiss on the jaw. Okay. So I think she was joshing, messing around with Patrick.
And it sounded funny because I could see, like, my grandparents talking that way back in the day. Like, some of the things.
So I'm skipping through it.
That was about the time people started finding me where I was staying, you know, and we had a lot of support. I'm going to let Escobel go through some of that. It'd be good when he's here with me. There was one time in the history of making content, I lied to my audience and my people. I felt like I did not have a choice. Once you hear this, you'll be able to go back, see it. It'll be obvious to you because I am not a good liar. I'm not. I suck at it. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like I had a choice. I knew the extraction was taking place. That's what set it in motion. But
So he sat there and he lied to Betty and said that they weren't there to take the family, but he knew it was happening. So right here, he had already met with them, thought that he was going to receive custody or temporary custody or rights to Timmy, whatever, adoption, whatever. He showed us the big stack of papers.
It was not me.
Let's go back.
Actually, I didn't feel like I had a choice. To my audience and my people, I felt like I did not have a choice. Time. Good when he's here with me. There was one time in the history of making content, I lied to my audience and my people. I felt like I did not have a choice. Once you hear this, you'll be able to go back, see it. It'll be obvious to you because I am not a good liar. I am not. I suck at it. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like I had a choice. I knew the extraction was taking place. That's what set it in motion, but it was not me. When they let BJ back in that home, and then all of that abuse had been reported, guys, I knew it before I even heard from him. Like, here we go. You just sat there and said that she's a danger and that she did all of this, and now when she got let back in, and I blame, that was a Larry thing. That was a Larry thing because I really, still to this day, I will not believe Betty wanted to do that. He had accomplished what he wanted while we were in another state trying to get him a house built. I heard from Adult Protection Services, and that's how I know that she was offered a protective order 3 different times, including the day of the extraction, before the extraction took place. You said this person.
Because the line of communication, and he had a direct line of communication with APS because they had already had the coffee shop meeting. And in my opinion, I'm going to let this play.
Person abused these people. We will extend this protective order. Do you want it? No. And that's when the wheels got set in motion, guys. I heard from them, and they told me they were going to be extracted. Where that lie comes in. I was at Adult Protection Services office that whole day leading up to that extraction. They had told me there was 2 people on the face of this earth that would have access. Me and Mark. It was Mark because he was with me. It was mainly a me thing. Not only that, they were going to need help. Nobody knows how to take care of them. Nobody knows how to do anything, right? I'm no longer going to be able to make content. You know, not going to be able to let anybody know I have any involvement. No, nothing. You can have a relationship. You can even come and get them. They can go with you. Truth is, guys, there was someone that was supposed to be coming back home to Georgia with me. If you remember back during that time, he was going to be spending a couple months, and I'm going to tell you, tickled to death about coming
At the time, you said a couple of weeks, so okay.
down. And I made that promise to him. And I was told I could keep that promise, that he could come. There is a lady, I don't know if she would want me to say her name. It starts with a G. You live in Florida. I don't think you would care. I'll give the first name, Jerry. Where she works, she gets 10 free tickets to Universal Studios every year. And she was wanting to give me tickets to take this person to Universal Studios. And we already had that trip planned. I think I was very open and telling people, you know, that this is what was going to go down. And I was told when this happened that night, you know, be able to be with me and, you know, would be able to keep that trip and that promise. I was brokenhearted. Mark Esquivel was with me in their office all day long. They knew what was going to happen during these 10 months, guys. They said that they had talked to a press team. They were going to be putting out a press release that let everybody know I had nothing to do with the extraction. They had talked to me. You know, I had been fully transparent. There was nothing going on with me. But at that point in time, because of everything coming in, that Patrick was being investigated, but I didn't have nothing to worry about. And we're going to put that out there to make sure you don't face any negativity, because we're afraid of when we do this, you're going to get the blame for the extraction. And I did. Probably for many of you watching right now, the ones that like to go and put the smiley faces and stuff. And they said, you know, that's what we're wanting. We want to make sure, you know, you got your.
Well, I think that we have to go back to where it began, because the order of protection, the court. Remember going to the court, Eric, for the order of protection? Remember what happened there? I'm just gonna drop that with you, and you know what I'm talking about. So this is to Eric Carroll. Remember going to the court for the order of protection? And you and I both know this. We don't need to say it online, do we? Unless you're going to say it. What happened at that court? What happened at that court, Eric?
They was like, but they don't know how to take care of them. They don't know what they like. They don't know anything about them. Can you help? So we're there at that office all day long. At this point in time, I've already been told, can't make content anymore. Can't let anybody know. So I'm going on over 3 weeks that I've been up there, back on my back. And I know like everything I worked towards, as far as this project, professional career, living, whatever you call it, it's gone. All this is,
But you didn't treat it, in my opinion, from my observation, you got to invest it. You didn't treat it like a business deal, like something under a contract, because none of the protection was put into play before you uploaded the first video from you.
if I stay, it's expense on me. It's fine. I got to be there for them. And we were in that office, like I said, all day long. They had to wait.
Keep in mind, though, sir, you did receive a first payment, so you had a little bit of money. I don't think it was a lot, maybe $5,000 or so. I don't know if you received the second payment. Don't know. I have to look back at your little your little paperwork you got online. But you received money from your hard work.
On getting the order. And when that time came, they said, we're going to get them. Don't let anybody know you know anything. Even though, go make a video. And we'll get back in touch with you. And you can come meet with us afterwards. Me and Mark got in the car, nerves, completely shot. Never been involved in something like this.
And I'm going to be honest, I understand getting emotionally invested. I understand wholeheartedly getting emotionally invested. I did as well, because I had contact with people behind the scenes during the months that I was covering this. You get emotionally invested. You have to step back. You have to touch grass. You have to think, what is your purpose? What is your goal? And get yourself together. You do. I understand it 100%. So I'm not that I'm knocking the guy for getting emotionally invested. It's easy to do. We all are emotionally invested in this, aren't we?
Because of the extraction and because people had kept finding us, man. I mean, and look, those people that found us, don't think I'm saying that in a bad way. Thank God you're onto something. Be careful. And I got my number from other law enforcement. It's like, we can't, I'm not going to tell you my name. I just want you to know all of us up here are rooting for you. You're onto something big and everybody knows about it. And they was like, they've been wanting somebody to do this for a while. Just know we all got your back. Been nice to know who you were. It was a lady. But we get back to the hotel room and I go on video and say, guys, oh, well, not exactly right away. I get a text from the Adult Protection Services ladies while I'm sitting there, and they say, we're on our way. I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking that means they're on their way to go get them. I didn't know. They had already got them. They were on their way back. So we sat there for a while, and then I later found out, they was like, we're here. I'm like, what do you mean you're here? I was like, oh, you've got them? He's like, yeah, because they were needing me. So that's when I went and made that video. And I'm like, guys, I just heard, the Adult Protection Services showed up and Whitakers, and you saw what I said. And I was knowingly having to lie to everybody, and that sucked ass, man. It sucked so much ass. Ass Mark. I'm telling you, I suck at lying. If you can find that video, it was horrible. But we were at the hotel. But I tried to make it quick because I wanted to get to them. Because it had been a while that night after I found out about BJ. The person that was wanting to go with me, that didn't get to go with me, that during that time, this bond had been made. You see those videos, watching Barney, and there was a happiness there. There was a love. I'm telling you, I love just like my own children. And having to walk away, this is one of the hardest things I'd ever done. And then,
Eric, I'm gonna pass that thought.
and when people would send pictures after that, knowing I knew he was grieving for me. I knew. And if you could look at the pictures, it was just emotionless. I could see it. Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
But I think they needed him for an investigation. Because here's the situation from and I don't know this to be true, but they needed his videos because social media seen exactly what was going on with the cleanliness, the issues that were going on, and they had received a lot of different phone calls. APS did from a lot of different people, and they had to do something. APS had to do something, or they knew that it was too big, and they had to do something. So, in my opinion, they needed him and his videos and him to write statements and to verify what they were saying in a court of law. Okay, in the courts. They used him. He was a patsy. But for me, Eric is experienced in court systems with CPS, Child Protective Services, because he has a whole fucking thing with his dad dog stuff. So he couldn't see. He, because I think his motive was, I think that they still told him that he could have Timmy, and that's why he participated. In my opinion, I cannot verify that.
Get to the hospital, and I get to see him for the first time. I forget, it had been a good bit, and I was so desperate to see.
And APS knew all along that wasn't possible. And APS knew all along they couldn't, tell the state police who not to investigate and who to investigate. They used him. He was used, and he fell for it. An experienced activist fighting for the rights of fathers and children didn't see the forest for the trees. Why? That's the $100 question for me. Why could you not see the forest for the trees with this when you say that you're an advocate on the rights of children and that you're experienced in the court procedures and you've traveled all over the country? I hold you to a higher standard, sir.
Instantly, hugs and hey, but I can tell you this, guys.
This person again.
That day when BJ was in the camper and I had to part ways, even though I didn't want to, and someone was going with me, that person that I brought home,
I'm going to put this up so we can get the
I never saw that again. It was not the same. It wasn't.
Or I block them.
It was, but it wasn't. I don't know what transpired. I need to be careful because now I'm talking about areas where people, I want to be private. I will also say this too. This part is unfair on some levels, but I'm going to do what I've got to do to protect people I love. I was entrusted with some information, and I can't tell you, that really plays into whether this intervention really needed to take place or not. And it's a big deal. Even the biggest of naysayers, no matter what, it's that big of a deal. And I can't tell you, it's sensitive, and there's laws.
Okay. Are they investigating what you think is serious? Are you keeping on them about that, sir?
I'll just tell you, I've never been so angry in my life. I stayed at that hospital all night, taking to the bathroom, calming down. I had to teach people what this means, how to take care of this person.
People ask, well, why did they let him? Because he wasn't an immediate threat to the family, and they needed to play with Eric Carroll to get the information that he gave to them. And so did the state police needed him to be. He's a participating suspect. He says it, I don't.
Person, how to take care of this person. Pretty much okay. One person visibly shooken.
I have no idea. I would even
But it was all
think
leaning
the worst.
on me.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
To be there. I was the only familiar face. And I saw that stress on them. I had two options, guys, at that point. I could have done what some people expected or suspected. I could have went back to Georgia. And I could have just went home and say, I'm done. Either way, I got to be silent about what I know. Or I can stay. And I can try to comfort and love as much as I can. Either way, and I can't tell anybody, and what had, what we had is no longer there. Like we making videos, all that, everything's changed. They even mentioned at one point in time, this is no lie, got marked for this. They still wanted me to build the house. And I said, if I can't do videos with them, guys, I can't build the house. Like, that's what I was using. And I was so confused back then. Because I was like, this is, I haven't done anything wrong. But I was there, waited on them hand and foot, made sure they were taken care of. And then I don't want to give too many details. It was private.
So do you think that the doctors and APS and qualified individuals that have degrees, certificates, all of the things needed him to step in and take care of the family? Or do you think that they were just stroking his ego to get the information that he needed? That's why I'm saying he was used as a patsy. I would think that that's why they used him.
If I don't say this here, I don't know if I'll ever even be able to say nobody has ever known this. I mean, even I haven't said this in court.
Billy Belinda? I
No.
watch a lot of your videos, by the way.
I thought people knew. I don't think people know. I was there. How do you think people knew how to take care of them? They later get out of the hospital and
I
they're going to
think
stay
the guy
somewhere.
actually went into this for different reasons. And I don't think he was out here just doing God's work, in my opinion. Okay. In my opinion, I don't think he's like, oh, yeah, let me help out because I want to do God's work. I think there were different motives behind why he decided to get a hold of Patrick Rourke and become, the manager. We'll say that. He's the one that created the contract, right?
Until I guess they get a home. I was promised they would never be separated. And I stayed for another week. I ate the expense. I sat there and let people make accusations and the whole 9 yards and just tried to act stupid and oblivious. And like I didn't know what I knew. And I was going every day. Went and bought someone a video game, Nintendo Switch, teach them how to play video games. So they had something to do. I was told that night and be able to go with me, after the hospital. Later on that night, oh, I'm so sorry. This has just gotten so big. It's even went
I
up to the
agree with that,
governor,
100%.
everything. We need it to cool down just a little bit.
And
Just
that's
wait.
and to respond to that, in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people understand. Not just West Virginia haulers, but people that live in the country, deep in the woods. I don't think they understand. Okay, I just really don't think that they understand, and that's unfortunate.
A couple of days. I promise you, this will happen. Okay. I still keep going every day, taking care. A couple of days goes by. Oh, it's still, it just keeps going, bigger and bigger. Just, let's just wait a little bit longer. Finally, almost a week goes by. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're not going to be able to do this right now. We can't let them
Because
go
they got what they wanted out of you.
out of state. And this whole time, telling someone, you
Answer
still
me this question. What kind of information were you giving them? And before they said, well, skirt, you're not coming back. Can't come in the hospital. You can't have contact. You can't have the thing. What type of information had you provided them?
good to go. I'm keeping my promise to you. I'm keeping it. I was told I could keep my promise to you. Cheer up. Cheer up. And when I had to tell them, cried. And I'd seen them cry before. It was like a dry cry. This one, there was tears. There was painful tears.
Well, I'm sure there was, because they were removed from everything that they've ever known. They have been removed from their front porch that they've spent decades living on. Everything, we may not like the way they lived, but that's all they knew. It might not be up to your standards of living, but that's what they knew for decades. They were scared. Okay? I get it. I agree with that. Even living in a country, being a farmer is a different culture than living in the city. You know? And if anyone's been anywhere traveling and you stayed somewhere for an extended period of time, if you find out someone's from your state, you're instantly friends. Aren't you? Isn't that the way it goes? If I'm traveling and I'm like, oh, that person, and we're far away from your state. Oh, you're from Illinois? Oh, me too. Okay. They're like, and then you're just instantly friends. Okay. So they knew him. They felt comfortable because they knew him from their home.
Got a hug that night. Someone different. Show people how to medicate knees. Medicated. It was not doing good at all.
I think that they knew exactly how to do it, but okay.
Not in good shape. None of them that night in good shape. But it was a hug like I never got. You know, usually it was a.
But honestly, I'm just gonna be. I here's the thing. Like I go back and forth so much. Like there's so much gray area. Like for me, I'm glad that no other podcaster, YouTuber, or wannabe can show up and just put a camera in their face and exploit him anymore. I'm happy for that. Okay. But I'm also disheartened by the fact that they can't sit outside and yell at the dogs and watch the mailman come and, yell at Betty and Betty, So I go back and forth, Hillbilly Belinda. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, seriously, like there are some positives, but there's also some freaking negatives, man. So I'm people like, well, you're a fence rider. I'll be that all day long, honey. Okay. Because I'm not going to be on this side or this side because there are some good things like they can't be exploited anymore. But then I freaking, if you've ever lived in the country and you've watched the sun come up with your cup of coffee and you've heard the beautiful birds chirping and the crickets at night, I mean, it's a different sound. And they're going to, I don't know. Let me go ahead and play it. I don't know. It messes me up. It really does.
This one was. It just held me. Like 30 seconds. I didn't think it was ever going to let go. That was the night before I went home. Got that hug from everyone. Different nurses, took turns. I wasn't there all day long, every day. It was very hard to be there. Everyone knew who we were. Everybody knew what was going on. It was a crazy time to be up there, guys. And then be able, be told, I can't talk. This put me in a very, very crappy situation. But if my option is, you're doing this no matter what, you're doing this. I have no control whether you do it or not. You're doing this. But they're saying, you can be there. You can help take care. And that's what I did.
And you know what, girl, listen. And I'm sure that we have family members or know someone that has a family member that just freaking is the rebel. Okay, she's an addict. We get that. We know she's an addict. She takes the damn car into town. She does all the things BJ does, right? To the extreme. She doesn't do right all the time by her family. She says she loves her dad, all the things. But I'm gonna tell you, a lot of us have family members or know someone that has family members. They're just the wild child. And I've always said this: if there is a breath left in somebody, there is hope for recovery. Don't give up on people. Don't be stupid to their antics. I'm not saying that, but don't give up on people. Don't give up on people. All right. But I know someone that has a rebel child in their family, just as wild can be. Okay. But when the push comes to shove, they would be there for their family. Maybe not the way you would show up or I would show up, but they do show up with all their craziness behind them. I'm not standing up for BJ over here. But the dynamics of people's family is not always what we think it should be or looks familiar to us. And you just got to understand, you just got to kind of step back and look into it.
So one day, kind of implied this, in the past and always said I wanted people to know. I think the craziest part of this, guys, was the day Charlie Kirk got killed. Someone had to go to the ER. And I was specifically told,
go.
You can be there to comfort.
Hillbilly Belinda says let me stop this.
They already know.
She says, I was BJ years ago and my family never gave up. Thank God. And that's what I've said through this whole journey. Yeah, we get pissed off at BJ. We're like, damn it, BJ. Damn it, BJ. But I've always said, do not give up hope. Don't give up hope, because that means we give up hope to every addict that's struggling. And let me tell you something. Watching somebody, and one of my good friends has a son that was an addict. They ended up passing away, okay, over the addiction. They never gave up. I have 5 female friends. We take a boat ride every year. I just go along with them. None of my children have passed away from suicide or overdose, but I ride along with them. They have lost their children to drug overdoses. Different walks of life, business owners, farmers, lives in New York, that very prominent people, very average Joes, okay? And I'm going to tell you the same story. They never give up, and heartbroken. Heartbroken. All right, come on, guys. Like, if addiction, and the people that are in the depths of their addiction, they're not happy. Do you really think that the addicts are fucking happy? Like, we can talk about this shit all day. Okay? You really think that they're happy with the decisions they make? Do you really think they're happy laying in the ditch looking for their next freaking pill or their next freaking high? Come on. They are stuck. Okay? And you got to pray for them. Don't be stupid to their antics. I'm not saying that. But don't give up. Do not give up. Please don't. If anyone knows anyone that's struggling, I have a hotline number. I don't know if my mod's in here, but I normally drop a hotline number because, it's good to have.
No, I mean, this thing is like Secret Service locked down, but you have access. They know already. You can be there.
Yeah, people
you're the
can
comfort.
change.
You can be there. And me and Mark are definitely on edge at this point. We're having to sit here and live this lie. People are mad about this extraction. I'm getting blamed for it, and I'm in that town. But not only is that going on, the fraud and the stuff about Patrick is all coming out. And, it was an MBJ. It was not my favorite place to be. Luckily, Georgia boy, I was packing. I was ready if trouble came. But still, I don't want trouble. I get to this hospital, and I go back. They ask my name, say my name. He's like, "Oh, sorry, sir, nobody can get back. I was told I have access, such and such name, Adult Protection Services." They make a call. They're like, "Oh, okay, yes, sir, yes, you did. Come on." So I get walked all the way back there. When I get back there, right outside the room, I can see it's full of people, and I'm just wanting to get in there and comfort. That's all I wanted to do. And then this lady steps out, and she is just so rude to me. She's like, "You're not going back there. You're not allowed." And I was like, I got a call and was asked to come up here, like, to be there for them. Like, no, I don't care. No, you're not allowed back there. You're going to be taking videos. You're going to be taking pictures. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a man of my word, guys. And I was told, like, I can't tell anybody about this. You can't take pictures. I was abiding by everything. But I got denied. Up until that point, I had not been going anywhere because we had just moved to this is the 3rd place that I'm staying during that time. And thank you for the people. I did that one fundraiser as days kept getting attached. It was all coming out of me at first. And I was just asking for help with the Airbnb. I was eating everything else, the groceries and even all the other stuff. And I was doing so much more for everybody else, but I needed a place to stay. And then I've got, the Mass family and everybody coming in. How many people have you known that's ever ran a fundraiser and once you get what you need? They're like, please stop sending. I did that. You know how many refunds I sent out, guys?
Well, we're going to need to see a receipt on that, sir. I mean, I hate to be a petty bitch, but I'm a petty bitch. I've never heard of anyone receiving a refund, but if you did, good for you. If you didn't, then don't say you did. I mean, I'm called the receipt channel. There's no receipt. It didn't happen.
Afterwards. But then I started getting people wanting to scam me with that. Literally people making up fake receipts and telling me, like, hey, I'm a single dad, at home with my kids. I sent my last money that I had for the month. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills. Like, obviously, going to get to me. But I sent out so many refunds, guys, because I didn't even want to have to do that. But we needed help. Now I'm up here, got this going on. I mean, that one sucked. That hurt. Because they contacted me and told me to go up there. And then when I got there to get treated like that, and then to get an accusation,
But here's the deal.
And as I'm leaving,
in his description, if you go into his description of who he is, he says that he has struggled with addiction. He has struggled with depression. He has struggled with things that would have made him more, from my point of view, more understanding? Or did you not work the steps of a program, sir? Are you a dry addict? Is that what they call them? Do they still call them that nowadays? I don't know. All right. Don't make me get on a high horse over here, my friend.
The building at that hospital, my secretary that runs Dad Talk, she's amazing, but she texted and she said, Charlie Kirk just got shot. And I was like, what? Charlie Kirk got shot. So I instantly went to Google and looked it up, and then I saw the shot immediately. And I know maybe not related, guys.
Yeah, Pam,
but this
right? Wasn't the extra $4,000 given to Patrick for something? So there was that.
was such a big story at that time that the only thing that really kind of made it go down a notch was this happening with Charlie. But I'm already out here in this situation, in this state, you know, and on edge. And then I see Charlie get shot like that. It just, the feeling that went through my body trying to walk back to the car after this, you know, I didn't feel like I could trust anybody. There was only one reason I was there. I owed it to those three. I wasn't going to let them down. And this whole time I'm being told, you're going to have access, or they'll be able to, you know, that one will be able to go. Okay. I'll come up. Holidays. Take care. Doctors.
So a Georgia boy, here's my perspective. So a Georgia boy went down to odd West Virginia and they schooled your ass. APS ran circles around you, boy. I mean, I just got to say it. I've been holding it in for a long time. APS in the state of West Virginia then said, come here, city boy. We got something for you. We got some. I mean, I just got to say it. I've been holding it in. Come on, Eric. Now, you said you were educated in all things, okay, with the court system. And what did they do? Going down there acting like you were messing with a bunch of dummies. Oh, shit. Fire saved the matches. I'm sorry.
It's whatever. Okay, I can't put it on video. I'm okay with that. I'll do whatever. Just make sure I'm in their life. We promise. We promise. And then, you know, they finally let me know, oh, we're just not going to be able to do it this time. You know, I'm so sorry. This is after I've been up there like that whole week telling people what to do and, you know, showing them how to do it.
They got free labor. Here, go sit with them at the hospital because we have all of our APS workers, CPS workers are busy. We're going to need you going to the hospital, son, because you're not a threat. And you'll do whatever we want you to because you think that there's something in the end for you. Is that how that went? Am I on the right track here? Am I picking up what you're laying down? Am I seeing between the lines?
I wanted to be home so bad, guys. It was right at a month of being gone. Not only that, being gone away from the family, but the controversy, the betrayal. I didn't feel like there was anyone I could trust. You know, all I know is now the only ones that have control of this situation is Adult Protection Services. And they did this, you know, and they're promising me you'll have access and you'll do this, you know. And I remember that day at Betty's, you know, when she no-showed that meeting and they showed up and, you know, took up for me so vehemently. I mean, it was poured on thick, guys. It was really, really poured on thick. I had no control of the extraction. I just knew. And I was there for the family. And I was told when I left, again, we wouldn't have known anything without you as far as like the fraud. And it was like,
there's your answer. And there's your answer. They did exactly what they're there to investigate. And they did. You gave it to them on a silver platter.
None of this. It was like, you're the only person that ever truly cared about the family. And it was like, well, we'll make sure there's not going to be any negative press. We got that press release. Never happened. We've already talked to the judge. You're not going to be investigated. Oh, there's.
Do you think that the APS has any control over what the West Virginia State Police investigators do? Come on. Have you ever watched any interrogation, son? I would highly suggest you to go over there to YouTube and watch some interrogations. We'll try to give you a good deal, but we can't guarantee it. But we want you to be honest with you. We want you to be honest with us, and we're going to be honest with you. Okay? We're going to give you the best deal. We done talked to the judge, and the judge said you're going to get life. You may get LWOP, but we're not sure.
That, you know, while I was there, and because I had known that money had came those first 2 months, and at that point in time, all the money was going to Patrick's page. And both times, their money goes missing. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? I got to stay away from specific amounts. And after seeing that, when I was up there that last time, I'm like, give me their portion I'm going to take her and we're going to go get this trust account. Well, when she no-showed that day, guess what happened? It got caught with me. It's not like I can go withdraw this and say, here you go, because they can't do that. You're going to mess up medical benefits. I guess at that time I could have, but even still, because, you know, some aren't there. It's just Betty and Larry, even still. So I'm telling them, I'll give you this money. So you guys, like, this was their money. If you want to, you know, I'd love to give it to you. I don't want this going home with me. And it was like, no, but we will find out. You know, this is like something I'm being told this whole week. Not only that, then I find out that I guess the county cops was originally going to investigate, and because this thing just kept getting bigger, then it goes on to the state police, right? So as soon as I found out that's where it was going to be, I'm like, what's his name? I'm like, I want to go. And they didn't have to look for me. I went to him. Mark took a picture of me there. That guy's smart. I didn't think some of this was necessary. It ended up being necessary. But I took a picture outside of the sheriff's office by the sign that day as I was walking in the building. We went, talked to him for 2 hours. Supposedly, you know, he said he was recording it. I'm not read Miranda rights or anything. I'm here on my own will. What do you want? I'm an open book. I gave him complete access to the Facebook, guys. They didn't have to ask. I'm like, here you go. Look at it. My text messages. Here you go. Take them all. Whatever you need. Mark ended up asking him. He was like, are you guys, you know, you're going to have some protection with him, right? Like, does he get immunity or what? Like, he's sitting here cooperating with you. And the gentleman says, no, right now he is the cooperating witness in this case. He said, that's, you know, that's what he's listed as. And this whole time, APS, you know, you're not being investigated. We've already talked to the judge, all this. Then APS starts telling me they're talking to the judge. They're trying to find somewhere that I can put that money so that we'll be safe on the family's behalf. I got this in text message. We promise you it will be out of your possession before you go home to Georgia. Guys, it's 10 months late. It never happened. Never happened. But now, I mean, like, I stayed there as long as I could to be as cooperative as I could and to offer anything I could to anybody that I could. I'm ready to go home. I think I stayed like a week after and helped, told them this is what they
Well,
like.
I can tell you from my notes when you went and left, if you ever need that day, Eric, just reach out to me. Okay, bud?
Like, this is what this means. This is what this means. This is how you take care of this. Like, if you hear this, that's what that word means. Like, I everything. And I was told, your relationship is good. You're going to be able to come back. When you leave, you'll FaceTimes, whole 9 yards. You'll get updates and everything. And like I said, I'm a loyal guy. And I'm abided by everything. But on that last day, they gave me those hugs. I'm telling you, it was a hug. Like, I know I'll never see you again type. They're so much smarter than people give them credit. But I head back to Georgia. And by the time I get back home, I didn't go crazy right away. We had planned, we had got some meat from the Amish. Was going to grill out for someone that was supposed to be with me with some fireworks that they had helped pick out. And since they wasn't able to do it, and that broken promise hurt so bad, I got a FaceTime. Whole family was here. Got him on FaceTime. Popped the fireworks for him. I love you. I miss you. I'm sorry. I want you here. We want you to see this. And I got, several updates during that. But I started getting worried because of all, like, it just started going crazy, guys. And so, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to call an attorney. Oh my God, guys. I might save that for another one. We've been going almost 2 hours. But I gave you, like, the aha for the most part. APS, in one of their conversations with me, told me almost immediately they went and got the top 3 attorneys in the city to represent the family, because each one of the family members will have their own attorney, guardian ad litem. And it was like, the others won't have much to choose from. Well, that didn't seem like much of a big deal to me at the time, until I needed to talk to someone just to make sure. I was told, like, none of this is happening, right? Nobody in that town could get involved. They was either conflicted with Patrick or the Whitakers. No one. I spent a week, guys, morning, day, and night. It was nuts. But I was getting updates. I was getting updates quite frequently. I got a couple of FaceTimes, trying to keep up, doing everything I said I was going to do. It seemed like You know, I just kept getting told, hey, you just got to wait out the storm. You got to wait out the storm. We promise you, you know, we're going to look after you for as long as I've got breath and as long as I work here, your relationship's always going to be protected. You know, just always being told like, thank you for everything you do. I started noticing when I would ask for an update or stuff, started coming in a little bit slower. Following week, Mark has to go back home. But while Mark was here one night, Patrick just goes on his tirade and starts like, he was messaging all kinds of people, like friends I hadn't talked to in years, like anybody I had ever associated with. They're all coming back, showing me this. And then
This is funny. Look at this right here. It says, breaking news. Savage Gods 50-50. It says, breaking news soon. Rest in peace, Lady K Talk. Sooner than you think from a crotch rotch due to alcohol withdrawal. Oh, come on, buddy. I mean, I love a good troll. But you need to leave Eric Mackey out of it because he's not, this is an aggressive finds channel, but that's some funny shit right there. I can't. I'm sorry. Oh my God, that's funny. I gotta leave that up there. I can't even block you, okay? Except I have to remove this right here. Oh my God.
one night he starts putting my personal information, phone number and stuff out there. I just got home after being gone for a month, you know, at midnight while my kids are sleeping, getting ready for, you know, I'm going to have to go to school the next morning. Cops are showing up to my house, having to make reports on all of this. Every day for 2 weeks, the local sheriff's office coming. Mr. Carroll, you okay? Walking property. And I appreciate them for that. There was death threats. There was all kinds of stuff, guys. People are just nuts. I mean, they didn't want real information. And, you know, I reported all of that up there about the death threats and the harassment and everything. No one did a thing. Didn't even reply. The next week, I wake up one morning after Mark leaves. A buddy sends me a text message. It was from a local news outlet.
I think that's an official medical
Talking
term.
about the Whitaker story. At this time, I'm just so sick of looking at it. I'm doing everything I can. I've went above and beyond. And, you know, you see on there, it's talking about Patrick, the fraud and stuff. And then it says also Lawrence Eric Carroll of Georgia. Man, my blood ran cold. Oh, man, are you kidding me? I snapshotted that. And I went.
Yeah, because they did not keep any word that they give to you because they used you for information and free work. Actually, they owe you a paycheck if you were taking them back and forth to the hospital or sitting with them. You need a sitting fee. Okay, in my opinion, send them a damn a payment slip here. Like you owe me however much money you want to charge an hour, Eric. Okay, because APS said, yeah, we're going to need you to sit up there.
And I texted APS right away. And I said, what in the world is going on? I was like, somebody needs to tell me what's going on, or I'm getting ready to sing like a canary.
Send them a bill.
With my words. And they messaged me back and said, I'm so sorry. We don't have any control over what, you know, state authorities do. It was like, you might want to get an attorney. And from that point on, I reached out a few more times. But once I told them I was about to tell the world what was going on, these people, we promise, they're going to be able to go and all this. It's like communication. Radio silent. And then I'm listed as a suspect, guys.
Yeah, because I got what they wanted. Did you really think that they were going to protect you, sir? Come on. You've been around the world once or twice. You've been in and out of the court system. Helping other people. Come on.
It was a double cross. Everyone I met up there. Don't take it back because there was 3.
Right.
And because of that, that last FaceTime, that was it. And You go from being offered guardianship, talking to a guy about adoption, being there and training your staff and going to state investigator and to this. And I don't know anything. I don't know anything about anything going on. I don't know if these people are still who they say they are, or like any of these promises that they made are still going to be kept, or they're just trying to be quiet until court comes around. I don't know anything. Nothing. I'm here in Georgia with a shitstorm going on.
So, what we call that around the neck of the woods I come from, because see, I grew up in southern Illinois on a farm with 5 brothers. We call that snitch. You done snitched on your own self. Fuck. Eric, I don't mean to laugh at you, and I don't mean to make this sound lighthearted, but my guy, you done snitched on your own self, son. Out here, I'm just out here doing God. Now, don't let me drag this guy. Now, come on, snap out of it. Your crotch is gonna rot, damn it. Now, cut it out. At the end of this, I will be having a link to an Amazon wish list for vinegar douches. Sounds like I need one. Just saying.
Of people saying my name and putting all kinds of stuff on there. I can't, do what it was that I did before. I mean, it was just the crappiest situation in the world to be in. And, that starts going into some of the court case stuff. The first court hearing wasn't until I think the second week of December. So I went from beginning of September to December before I even felt like I got to talk or even say anything. Because it's a closed case. If you call and ask, like, you want anything from me? Like, can you tell me date? Can you tell me time, scope? Can you tell me like what you need or anything? Nope, closed case, can't talk to you. So that's why I used to get so frustrated when people claim they had information. I'm like, I can't even get information. But how do you expect me to be? You know what I mean? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, guys. Craziest thing. And I've been waiting a very long time to say my piece, and there's still more. But we'll cut it here. Come back. I'm gonna get Mr. Escobar on with me more. He's got a lot.
So he'll be back tonight, he says. We'll see if he has good Wi-Fi and all that. Okay, we'll see if he does. We don't know, but I'll review it again tomorrow. I'm not trying to drag anybody. I'm just, I'm holding back because I don't want to, I want to hear the information and get it out there and give our opinion. So, sounds like it will probably never be able to be discussed completely due to the privacy aspects made for some of them now that they are with the state. Yeah, probably I'm sure that some of it, because, it's a privacy issue. And I know that a lot of the court records, all the court records dealing with APS is not, you can't FOIA them. So there's that. But I appreciate you guys coming over. So I need to make sure that everyone knows how to, take care of themselves. I love a good troll. So here's this, just in case you need to
Tempting,
know.
but no. Thank you. Tempting, but no.
Just in case you have a problem with your vagina, you can douche with a little vinegar and water. They sell those on Amazon. I will drop a link for an Amazon wish list because apparently I'm going to die a death from that. From, I think, was it withdrawal from alcohol? Good God, everyone knows I need a stiff drink, Oh, Lord Jesus. I wish I could find me one in this house. It's a non-drinking home, but maybe I can go ask the neighbor. So, but between now and this evening, make sure you use your vinegar douches. Get it nice and clean down there because we do not want any sudden deaths from the smelly vagina. All right. We need some antibiotics too, I guess. So make sure that you do take care of your, your lady parts and scrub-a-dub-dub bitches. And I will talk with you guys probably tomorrow. I'm gonna watch it tonight, and we'll go from there. I appreciate you guys for coming on and hanging out with me and reviewing this. And I may have an open panel if anyone's interested to give their feedback on the, at the end of the week, we may do it to see how did the week go? How do we like the week of being real and being honest with Mr. Eric Carroll himself. Everything that I said today is based on my opinion. I am not responsible for the trolls or anybody in my chat, but I sure enjoy a good troll. Good day, you filthy bitches.
Never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains